Welcome back. Jot Condie is the president of the California Restaurant Association. He joins us from Sacramento. So, Mr. Condie, the governor says on Tuesday the state will outline parameters for reopening dining establishments for customers. You have offered a list of suggestions. Give us some of them. How will it look?
We're working with the administration and the health officials on what that reopening looks like, the conditions that need to be applied, but the X factor certainly is the customers and how are they going to respond, and will they show up at the level that they were showing up before this happened? Our guess is no, based on what we're seeing in Florida and Texas and Alaska and some of these states that are opening. But the experience that a diner is going to have will be different. You're going to experience a thinner dining room areas. The tables will be required to be distanced to a degree, depending on the county you're in and what that looks like. You will see almost certainly face coverings on most of those who are, if not all of those restaurant employees who are serving the customer. Extra effort in sanitizing and disinfecting the restaurant. And so that will change as well. And what won't change is the quality of the food that you get. So people will get to go out and enjoy the meal that they're craving these days.
So tables will be limited to 10 people, but not necessarily to members of the same family who are living together.
Yeah, it would be, it would just be the height of awkwardness for, a server to ask 10 people at a table for IDs and to make sure that they all live together. I mean, who knows, what a family unit looks like or where they live is just not something that a restaurant really could do or enforce.
We're going to hear in a moment from a representative from the California Business Roundtable. One of their recommendations is to freeze the minimum wage hike, which is set to go up to $14 an hour in January. Would that help your members?
Yes, it would help them tremendously. I mean, this is an industry of pennies anyway, Jai. So the margins are narrow. We're expecting customer traffic to come in slowly. And so those margins are gone right now. So yes, $1 an hour for all the employees would make a difference, whether a restaurant can stay open or not. That's how volatile the industry is right now.
Jot Condie, President and CEO of the California Restaurant Association, thank you very much for taking the time. This week, a dozen different business organizations sent a letter to the governor and legislative leaders saying business needs a break. They want a freeze on regulations, a repeal of AB 5, which required companies like Uber and Lyft to hire their employees instead of using them as independent contractors. Shelter from litigation they want as well. Rob Lapsley is the president of the California Business Roundtable, a nonprofit group made up of CEOs and some of the largest and leading California companies. So you're asking the legislature to repeal laws that they embraced and were pro-labor. What makes you think they're going to change their mind?
Well, it's great when their priority is when you have a full employment economy. Now we're looking at 20% plus unemployment, maybe going to 25%. As a result, local government revenues are literally stopped. Sales tax, transit occupancy tax, local governments are going bankrupt. You no longer have the luxury of doing things the way you used to do them. And the legislature and the governor have got to look at things differently with some urgency to say, look, if we're going to get people back on our jobs and get our revenues restarted for state and local governments, in addition to for people's families, we need to at least suspend some of these things for a while until we get our unemployment rate down and until we get money flowing again. They have to look at these things differently.
So the governor has set up a special committee looking at reopening the economy. Tim Cook of Apple, Bob Iger of Disney. Why isn't that sufficient?
There's no timeline on when they are going to come out with something to help the governor. And they just got started. What we're talking about is we got to open up this economy now. We're going into stage 2. Based on the data, we could be deeper into stage 2 right now and get people working. The people of California want to work. They're desperate to get a cash flow back for their families. They're scared to death. You see it out there with people who are now out and looking for guidance from the government on when they can get back.
Rob Lapsley of the California Business Roundtable, thank you very much for joining us.
Conan, thank you very much. Appreciate all your work.
Coming up next, there is an election taking place in the 25th Congressional District of California. We talk with Dan Schnur of USC and Jessica Levinson of Loyola Law School when we return.